Hey, everybody, and welcome to the Brilliant Marketing with Mary show. I'm Mary. This is my show. So, thank you so much for being here. We have so much fun for you today. Um, have you ever thought about growing a Facebook group, but you don't know where to start? And if you have made one and it's just sitting there and it's not doing amazing things for you, you figuring like, what the heck am I supposed to do with this thing? Well, guess what? Today, the subject of or the topic of our show is how to become a Facebook group marketing beast. Doesn't that sound great? You want to be a marketing beast, right? So do you want to drive people to that group and provide amazing awesomeness, and then also, I don't know, make some money from that, right? Have that be a constant profit stream for you. And today, I'm so excited because my guest is going to talk about that and share all her secrets, which I'm so absolutely thrilled for because I just started a group a little bit ago and I'm excited about learning from her. So she's absolutely amazing. But before we get into that, the group that actually I started that I thought I would share with you is Marketing Innovators Playground, where serious fun meets creative success, or creative fun is serious success, something like that. Maybe she'll give me a tip on how I should announce it. Anyways, so this is a community I would love for you to join because we have so much fun in there. I do software like how to's, like walk through software that I think is really cool for people to use. I invite amazing guests like my wonderful guest today, Sierra. And I also have creative marketing tips and examples and things for people who are looking to use their creativity and have a little fun in their marketing to drive more traffic to their offer and obviously bring more awesomeness to the world, right? Because I always say that you are the answer to someone's prayer, but if no one knows you're there, how are you going to help them, right? So we have to make sure that people know who you are. So I want to make sure that I do Sierra justice. I'm sure everyone in the world knows this amazing woman, but just in case one person out there doesn't know, I thought I should introduce her properly, and then I will bring her on up. So Sierra is a rock star, to be honest. I met her recently in person, and she is vivacious, energetic, and lovely. And she has 5 children. You're never going to believe it because literally she looks so young. But she has helped over 350 businesses build their audiences and groups on Facebook, resulting in a consistent and predictable 5 to 7 figure months. Wow. With smaller audiences of highly qualified leads. She has been a featured speaker for Taylor Welch, Rich Sheffrin, John Madsen, Business Coaching Institute, and Tyler DeHaze, if I said that correctly, and is the author of Not a Sales Book. I want to know more about that. She is the wife of 19 years to an Army vet and a mother of 5 kids, one being a brain tumor survivor. Wow. She is passionate about supporting industry experts to get their voices heard by the people that need them most with highly organic visibility and engagement. And without further ado, let's welcome this rock star. Yay!
Hello.
I'm so excited that you took time to be on the show today, Sierra. Thank you.
I appreciate you bringing me on. I was so excited the moment I met you because again, with the energy, I think that we have a lot of compatibility and alignment in terms of energy and how we're able to help and impact this industry.
I love it. I love it. And she's so amazing because seriously, when we were at Molly's event, and by the way, we need to do a little cheers with our magic feather.
Yeah.
Is it
Yeah.
cheers?
Which way? This way.
Yeah.
Oh,
Ching, ching,
oh,
ching.
I can do it.
They're gold and things. So the thought behind the magic feather, if you watch Dumbo, which I'm sure everyone in the world has, is that we have a magic in us already. We really don't need the feather, but it's a reminder that we have the magic in us. So I'm excited to talk to you today about that, Sierra. So tell me, how did you get started in your business?
In my business. Well, that's a really interesting story. It actually My business started in a severe time of trauma in my life where
Oh,
my son, the brain tumor survivor, the way we found out he had a brain tumor was he was actually cooking brunch for us on a Saturday. I'm vividly remember it
how
like
old
it
was
was
he at the time?
yesterday. He was 11,
Oh my
and
gosh.
he was cooking brunch for us, making like grilled cheese sandwiches or something. And all of a sudden, I hear like a tiny bit of commotion where my daughter, who's a year older than him, was like, hey, Israel, are you okay? Israel, did you burn yourself? And she was mad at him that morning. So like hearing her ask him that, it's like I knew it must have been something. So I just tapped my husband on the shoulder. We had a big open concept. So like he was right behind us. But I tapped my husband on the shoulder and I was like, hey, can you go check on that? And he jumped into the kitchen and it was just silent. And I was like, okay, I don't know what's going on. And so I go in there and to my utter horror, I walk into my husband holding my son's hands over the sink and his on his fingers and palms of both hands, it looked like egg noodles. And what had happened is we found out later that my son had had a focal seizure, which just, I hope to bring awareness to the world about this because I didn't even know that focal seizures existed. And it's basically where the person keeps doing actions, whatever's programmed in the brain, the person keeps doing those actions. So he must have been thinking about cleaning the pan and he ended up picking up the hot pan with his bare hands and holding onto it long enough to get second and third degree burns. And so we rushed to the
Oh my
hospital.
gosh.
We didn't know he was having seizures. We thought he had a little bit of incontinence because he'd peed himself and didn't really understand. He was like, "What? I didn't pee myself." And then he'd look down, and sure enough. And so we ended up realizing it was seizures. Within a week, we found out it was because of a brain tumor. They did so much testing on him. We ended up going in and out of hospitals almost constantly. And for a couple months, I had completely quit everything. And because it was on his hands, it wasn't just the brain tumor, it was also his hands. He already couldn't go outside and do anything with like wheels or sports or anything where he could possibly hit his head because they weren't sure what caused it. But because of his hands, he also couldn't play on the computer, couldn't hold a remote, couldn't feed himself, couldn't like write or draw or play games. He couldn't even go to the bathroom by himself or take showers by himself. Like when his dad went to work, I had to go help him as an 11-year-old young man who's stepping into his manhood and stuff like that. He couldn't even go to the bathroom by himself. And so he entered this really dark time of depression.
Oh, I
And
can
during
imagine.
that time, I walked in on him trying to hurt himself a few times, trying to like it's his story to share, and so I'm really sensitive about the topic. And for anyone
You don't
who's
have
known,
to say another thing, girl. This is like, wow.
yeah.
Wow.
So I walked in on him trying to commit suicide one time, and it still gets me because it's so fresh. He's only 15. He's alive. Amen.
Amen.
But
Oh my,
I walked in on that and there just was this point where it's like I had entered into depression too because our life was flipped upside down and I was coming out and I was trying to be that motivational speaker and I was just like I can't let my son die. And so I started going into my closet and hiding my tears in my closet and crying and then I would come out and I would be that positive person because he was in so much pain and he was depressed and he couldn't like he lost all of his friends, like there's just so many terrible things happen for him. So I would just come out and like I dredged up all the Jim Rohn and Tony Robbins and Les Brown and Bob Proctor and Zig Ziglar and all of the greats that I had inside of me. And I just started constantly every single day just speaking life into him. And it's like, man, you're going to be on stages someday. We need to take pictures and document this. And I just remember coming out one day. We had just gotten done watching The Last Dance, which is the documentary about Michael Jordan. And I recognized that my kids are seeing people like, well, they were watching Michael Jordan back then because I was, but they're
right.
not really looking at him anymore so much. They're looking at people like Mr. Beast and some of these amazing singers like Marshmello and The Weeknd and some of these other really famous people out there. And they're thinking like, well, they can do it because they had this, or this, like whatever stories they're building in their mind. But
Right.
I can't do it because like that's them and this is me and I'm just a normal person. And I recognized in that moment that I came out and I was talking to my kids and I was like, you know what? You can do and be whatever you want in life as long as you pursue it with all of your might. And then it hit me like a punch to the gut that I wasn't doing that myself and showing them firsthand.
Right.
And that if I actually wanted them to be great in their life and if I wanted them to pursue amazing things in their life, I had to do that myself. If I wanted them to pursue their passions and their dreams, I had to stand up and start doing it myself. And so at that time, I jumped back in. I was in like Dean Graziosi and Tony Robbins' Knowledge Business Blueprint, KBB at the time. Now I think it's
Right.
called Self Education Revolution. They might have changed the name again. I don't know. I'm not really
Probably.
following it. But I was in that. And so I jumped back into it and I created out my first event and created a landing page. Like, what the heck was a landing page for the first time? And like all this stuff. And I had 3 people who attended that event. So I was not like wildly successful. And those 3 people, one of them was my mom, another
Nice.
was my aunt, and my mom paid for her ticket. And then the third one was somebody that I was in the program with who was supporting me. So it
Nice.
wasn't like a huge success. And I didn't really feel like just a course was enough. And so I started just studying everything I could on YouTube and finding whatever I could because I was just so determined to be successful. And about uh, 2 weeks before my son's brain surgery, I found, or no, 2 weeks after, I'm sorry, timeline's messed up. But, anyways, it was right around his brain
Yeah.
surgery. I found this mentorship and I paid 10K, and it was the most I'd ever invested into anything. And I was like, if I could just learn how to make enough money to pay for the payments on this credit card, it will be worth it. And so I invested 10K, jumped in, and about like a week before the program was over, it was a 10-week program, I got my first client. And I just remember getting that, like, he paid me on a two-pay. It was a $3,800 offer at the time. And I was just stupid excited about that $1,900. And I was like, babe, I can make the payment myself and I can do this. And what was so cool is that my first month it was 1,900, my second month it was 7,700, my third month it was 12,000, my fourth month it was 20,000, and then within 6 months I'd collected over $100,000 in my business, and it just completely transformed our family's life, like
Wow.
completely. And my son has been, since his brain surgery, because I'm sure all of you guys are wondering, because I opened that loop. Let's close that for you. He's healthy.
Yes.
He was 11 and shorter than me, and he got really chubby, couldn't work out for like a couple of years. And so, like, he's now like taller than me, super athletic, extremely handsome. If you want to see pictures, you can go over to my Facebook. There's pictures of
Oh
him
yeah.
on there.
Oh yeah. We're gonna share
But
that. Yeah.
and he has full functionality of his hands, which is amazing because they did 4 skin graft surgeries, insane. And I was just in and
Wow.
out of hospitals almost constantly that year, and I still just went out and pursued what my dreams were. And my kids have told me since then how proud they are of me, but what's even bigger is that they're actually pursuing things that they want in life and pursuing their passions because I
That's
set that example for
amazing.
them.
I am so proud of you, and what an ordeal and what a redemption story. Like, praise God that you were such an amazing, like, and again, I totally get it. I've been in the place where I would go in my closet, and sob into my clothes, and they're great tissues, your clothes. I get it,
When you
girl.
don't have tissues and you're like, I don't need this extra layer.
Right?
Or your sleeve.
Exactly.
Oh
Well,
my
what
gosh.
was it that, now I know today we're talking about Facebook groups and how to become a marketing Facebook group beast, but what was the first product that you created that you sold for the two-part offer?
It was for Facebook groups. And
Oh, you went right into
yeah.
that in the very beginning.
And the very first person that I helped, he had a group of about 2,000 members. And he was like, I haven't touched this group in 2 years. It was like literally zero engagement. It had 2,000 members, zero engagement, completely dead. He had not posted in it for 2 years. And he was like, could we get clients out of this? And I said, absolutely. And he's like, okay, cool. And he was the $1,900 to pay. He paid me 1,900 twice. And so within 2 weeks of implementing, he had already pulled 10,000 in sales from the group,
Wow.
from a
That's
completely
fan
dead group.
Wow, that's fantastic. So, what made you think that from doing nothing, I mean, not starting anywhere and going right into groups, did you see the potential of groups? I mean, what was it that you saw in groups that made you realize, wow, this is something I could really help people with?
So I actually did. Well, we hadn't monetized it a long time ago, but I used to run like fitness boot camps inside of groups for a while, and
Oh,
then I did. There was a website called Cafe Mom before Facebook groups ever existed, and I was admin over that. I also did a lot of organic engagement for communities in person
oh,
because I worked with a lot of nonprofits and newer small businesses and churches. We did a lot of local church plants.
okay,
And when we were doing those local church plants and working with the nonprofits, they don't, well, also new businesses, they don't really have a very large budget in the beginning.
right.
And so we had to figure out, like, what are the free ways that we can do this, and how can we build up buzz, and how can we kind of start a movement around things so that people naturally want to share it with others. And I felt like when I was younger, I was really held back because the leaders did not weren't very great, and we still have this issue today, but leaders can sometimes not be great at delegating the vision and allowing people to just take a project and run with it. And so when I was able to go to Cafe Mom, I was admin over several groups that I was partnered with people, and then I had a few of my own. And I actually had my first sponsor when I was on Cafe Mom. And so I got sponsored, and that was my first way to monetize. And then when we jumped over into Facebook groups, I had another friend, one of the very first Facebook groups that I helped monetize. I actually came up with 5 different ways of monetization for her. We implemented them all within 3 months and made money with all of those different ways of monetization for the group. And the group was less than 100 inactive members and grew to 500 in the first 3 months. And it was just like, I want to say 90% plus engagement. And then I actually gave her a strategy. She got featured on the news. She got some guest speaking spots at the local university for the business school. And then she, with the news feature, was able to grow the group from 500 to 1,500. And that one was for a local Facebook group. So it was for women entrepreneurs in one local area where the population is like 40,000 people. And it grew from less than 100 to 1,500 within 4 months.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. Okay, so I don't I mean you monetize this, so I don't want to take all your secrets or share all your secrets, but I just started a group, and again, I have had multiple groups over the years, being starting in Facebook I think in 2008. When it first started, I thought I would check it out before I allowed my daughter to have an account. And I remember we were during 2008 was when I had my they thought I had cancer. We were time a little bit off that
Mm.
offline, and literally the economy was crashing, and so there was no money. I literally kept a couple clients, but people were like, "We don't need marketing anymore. We're cutting all our costs," right? And so like I was dealing with all these things, but God always had me, right? It was fine. But my daughter will always joke with me that that we she's like, "Great, mom, give me something that was free." So literally that Christmas, I because I had been on it for 6 months, I gave it to my daughter as a Christmas present. Was her own Facebook account. And she's like,
It's so
"Wow,
funny.
mom, big spender." I'm like, "Dude, we didn't have any money. Like that was like a big deal, and you were, a teenager,
You're
and
like,
what.
ungrateful child. I am taking that back.
Right?
No more
Exactly.
Facebook account for you.
Yeah, yeah. And hindsight, and you think, was that the right decision?" Anyways, so that's a whole nother conversation. But anyway, so I remember being on it, trying to figure it out or whatever. And so I've started different groups, but to be honest, it always seemed like it was coming, like I was feeding the group, and I didn't set it up correctly to be one that was a two-way street that people would feel like part of a community. And that's what I really want to do with this new group. So I probably have at least 5 groups that I've kind of, I've archived that I just aren't, that I would guess you would call them a pop-up group now in hindsight. But what would you have as advice for me to make sure that my group becomes this thriving community?
So, one of the things that we did with the Women Entrepreneurs group is we made it a safe place for women to just come and ask questions and talk about like anything that they wanted to inside of the group. A lot of times, one of the biggest problems I see with Facebook groups and why they end up dying over time, there's multiple reasons, but one of the biggest ones is that the admin becomes so um, high and mighty. They want to start controlling all the conversations. They want to control what's being posted, and so they turn off the ability to post inside of the group without admin approval. Which, if
Mm.
you actually grow your group to any kind of super group size, which is when we get into the 30, 50, 100,000 members, more. I was partnered with somebody who had a group that was 1.2 million members, and it's one of the top. Actually, I think it's 1.3 million now, but it's one of the top
Wow.
5 Facebook groups on Facebook. And so once you get into those growth groups and you have a bigger group, like having to manage every single post that comes in is absolutely insane. Can you imagine the size team that you would have to have? It's not scalable. And
Crazy.
so
Yeah.
these people come in as these new leaders, and I see this too in like newer businesses where people are trying to prove themselves, and so they need to prove that they have the authority, or they need to prove that they have the power, or they need to prove that they're the leader and they have the skills. And that
Right.
ends up squelching creativity. It ends up squelching the excitement, because it's like, if I just had a major win and I wanted to share it with people and I wanted to be like, I just did this, if I have to wait for post approval, all of that energy that I had with that dissipates and it's gone. And you
Right.
want people to be able to interact while they still have the energy to interact. while they're still excited. Because when I'm excited and I interact with people, like I am constantly responding to comments. But the
Right.
moment that that excitement goes away, I'm like, and I just don't even return to it. And so a lot of groups will put that like managing power over all of the posts that come in. And that's one of the big
Right.
things that I would say make sure you don't do that.
Okay. I have not done that. So whew, check.
Yeah.
Because I did. I wanted to have two-way streets, but people are busy
So
and
here's something that you can do, and that every person who participates and watches this can also do is go find. There's more than 280 million Facebook groups. This is a statistic from 2 years ago, so there's probably way more now.
wow.
Um, Go find another group that has a topic like what you have, and go look inside that group and see what are people chatting
Okay.
about your topic or about your niche.
Okay.
What is it that people are chatting about most? And if you create a group based on what people are already talking about and what's already important to them and what they already chat about, that's going to create that intimate environment. It's going to be easy for them to know what to talk about. This is one of the other things. People who have way too many rules and they're like, don't do this, don't do this, don't do this. Well, most people don't post inside of a group that has a lot of rules because they don't know how they can post. They don't know what they can post. And
Right.
so making sure that people understand how to post in the group and that they actually do a post when they are first coming into the group, it's like we're training them how to interact with the group in the future. Does that make
Right.
sense?
Yes. Yeah, I actually created so they to introduce themselves with a GIF, but they picked a GIF, but they didn't really tell me about themselves. So I realized, maybe I need to go back and edit that to say, please introduce yourself. Um, but I just thought the GIF was fun. Should I take that off, or should I just, you know, do a new one? Do you have?
Like you ask them to post a GIF as their own post, or you ask them to put a
No, I
comment.
actually said comment below with a gift to introduce yourself. So I probably should let them each. And some people did take the initiative to introduce themselves, and I of course was applauding them, like, "This is so great. I love
So what
everybody
we're
to know how."
looking for when we ask people to introduce themselves or create a new post or something like that, what we're looking for is about 25%. 25% of people are going to say yes and actually do it.
Okay.
So if you have 25% of the new people who just came in who actually participate, you're doing
Yeah.
an amazing job. If you have more than that, you're so good.
Okay.
Um, Most people, so the introverts don't usually want to introduce themselves anyway. So
Well,
think about
I was
that. Like
that's why I
50%
was
of the
doing
population doesn't even want to introduce themselves.
yeah, that's why I was doing the GIF. I thought it would be like low friction.
Yeah. And then there's another percentage of people who just don't really know you yet, or they don't really like they haven't built up that like factor, or they just don't really trust yet, and they're just like waiting and hanging back to see, because only about 15% of people are ready to buy right away if we look at the three different types of buyers. And then that means that there's 61% of people who like they just need more time to figure things out, and then there's 24% of people who are just never going to say anything. They're just going to hang out in the background. They're literally going to join your group just to spy on it, just to see. And then they're either the people who are like, I'm going to buy from you someday, or they're the people who are like, I'm never buying from you. Either way, they come in the group to lurk. They're the lurkers in the background. And then those
Right.
people lurk around, and eventually they do become buyers if the group is engaged and if they see people like getting amazing results or they see people having fun. Eventually they engage. Eventually there's buy-in, but it usually takes about 6 to 12 months for those people. Sometimes it can take up to 2 years.
Wow. Yeah, and that's the thing. I haven't really put out like anything to buy. I was just wanting to be of service. And then I did have a masterclass yesterday where I do these type of lives all day, every day for years. And of course, and I had been promoting the group just to come to this masterclass. And of course, the day that I do a masterclass, the moon wasn't aligned or something. And I was not able to log into any of my streaming services like Wave. I even tried Be Live, which I've used to use for years and started glitching. And then I was trying to do it natively on Facebook. Seriously, everything. And I had it in my presentation. So eventually, like I felt so bad. It was like 9 minutes in, and I was like, hey, just like whatever in the background, like trying to do all my things. And I was able to give the presentation, but I just felt like, oh my gosh. And so during that, I was all flustered and I said, hey gosh, I have this availability to, work with me one-on-one, blah, blah, but I just kind of breezed over it because that really wasn't the point of it. The point of it was to serve and share about AI. So, anyway, so obviously nobody did it because I kind of breezed over it. So is that what you were talking about having offers like that are kind of, as we would say, mumbled as part in your presentations?
Um, refine your question and ask it again.
I'm sorry, I just kind of blurted it all out. So I was
Yeah.
thinking when you say they'll never buy from you or they will buy for you or whatever, like I said, my
Uh,
intention of the group was to create like this cool community of people sharing ideas. But during my master class, I kind of I added in the ability to an offer, I should say. But I'm
so
just saying, should I do
they
that
didn't.
separately or
It wasn't anything to do with the buyer types because 15% of people should have jumped on that. 15% of the, like, I don't know how many people like said that they were going or how many people participated and watched, but 15% of people should have jumped on that. Okay, because 15% are ready to buy right away. They're
right,
the yes people. They're gonna, whether they're buying from you or they're buying from somebody else, they're buying something right now because it is a big hairy deal problem that they need to get solved right now, right?
right,
So the reason why you probably didn't get any bites on that one was because you said that that wasn't your intention. So
true,
probably it came across in your energy whenever you did make the pitch at the end. Like it should always be your intention. It is 100% my intention to sell every single person that hears about me. Like like I want you to jump into my stuff because it's like there's a lot of other great people out there. There's a lot of people who do similar things to what I do, not the same, but similar things. You like every single program out there probably works. Otherwise they wouldn't have created it, probably because they've done it before and it worked for them. It probably
right,
works. If you stick to that one thing 100% and do it, it
right,
probably works. So there's all these amazing programs out there. Why should people buy from me? It's because I care about it differently. And so when they connect with me, and they should, it's like, I am I in competition with people like Molly Mahoney? Maybe, but at the same time, they can buy from her and get amazing results and buy from me and get different amazing results or similar amazing results, or they can buy from both of us and absolutely amplify stuff. You know what I
right,
mean? But
100%.
so at any point, at any given point, especially inside of my group, I am 100% there to sell you if it makes sense. And I tell
Right.
people that too. There was a messenger strategy that I got from Traffic and Funnels when I worked there. I went through their Client Kit program, and then I ended up working for them for about 4.5 months, training other
Oh,
people inside of Client Kit because I got such amazing results. And I got this messenger script from one of their setters, and it was so good. And it said at the end of it, whenever they were booking the call, they were like, "Hey, do you want to hop on a call at some point in the next couple days? I can show you exactly what our clients are doing to get amazing results. And I might have a few other things I can send you that would be really helpful for where you're at." And then it said, "Promise I've got nothing to pitch you," or something along those lines with an
right.
LOL. And I was like, no, I was like, I changed it to say, "Promise I've got nothing to pitch you unless you want and ask for my help, or unless you need and ask for my
Ooh,
help." And it
that
was
is
because I
gold.
wanted them to know that I was 100% going to pitch them if it made sense. I was 100% going to share offers that would help them if it made sense.
I'm writing this down.
Catch it on the replay.
I'm putting it on the replay. Yeah, unless you what was it again?
Unless you, I say either want or need, unless you need or ask for my help.
Ask for my help.
Promise not to pitch you unless you need or ask for my help, because I'm letting people know, like, I'm not hopping on a call to waste my time or your time. If there's something I can do that's going to help you and it costs money, I'm going to share it with you. And
Right,
I don't feel like I overcharge for what I do. Like
right.
one of my clients just jumped into, I have a program that's roughly around 10K. I have multiple things ranging all the way down from, $27 and $0. I have some really cool stuff for $0, but all the way down from $27 all the way up to 15,000. I actually just had a person sign on with me for private consulting for 24,000, and so it's like we
Great.
have things in all those ranges. But I did have somebody who just jumped in with me. She spent $10,000, but she made 70,000 in her first month working with me.
Wow.
And
Wow.
so it's like, I don't like, and you shouldn't, if you have an offer, as long as it's a reasonable price, then it makes sense. And if you don't do the math with people on the phone, you need to figure out a way to do math, even if you're a mindset coach. even if you're working in some industry that the maths doesn't math or whatever, like figure out a math problem that you can do. They're
Right.
spending money somewhere. If they're needing like health stuff, they're probably spending a lot of money on depression and overcoming stress and overcoming anxiety. That's for health, mindset, wellness, fitness, all of those industries where it's a service based industry that doesn't have the maths. They're probably spending a lot of money on things to help make them happy that aren't working. Have them do math. Maybe have that be one of your lead magnets where they sit down and they actually do the math and work out how much money they've been spending on things that are supposed to be helping make them happy, that
Right.
actually don't make them happy.
I love
And
that.
then they'll look at how much they're spending throughout the year. Maybe they're already spending 10, 20, $30,000 a year on stuff to make them happy and it's not working.
Right. That is so brilliant. Yeah, my offer basically it was just basically I call it the Brilliant Breakthrough Power Hour. So basically, they're spending 60 minutes with me, and I basically go through and assess everything that they are doing, see if there's any holes, and then I suggest like I create a little strategy for them. Like literally walk away after 60 minutes and go, oh my gosh, like it's been right there in front of me. Right? And so I help them craft that. And then if they do want more, support, then we have, different programs that we do. We have software. I make sure there's no holes in their automation system. So yeah, so I totally get it. I was saying that in my group, I haven't pitched um because again, I just started it like at last month, but I didn't have a separate pitch. I actually just thought at the last minute because my intention was just to share about AI and that was something interesting for people to come into the group to learn about. I thought, oh, maybe I should throw my offer out there too. But I think that I was, because all the tech was going crazy, I was just like, oh, forget it. And I just said it because it was on my deck and
You
I
know what's
didn't
so
know.
beautiful is that all the people who showed up to it, and this is something that I think a lot of people skip over, especially in their groups, is you have all these people who will show up to a live, they'll comment on your posts, they'll opt in for a CTA in the past, and like most people just don't even follow up with them. Do you know how easy it is to follow up? Like, actually, this is a really perfect day for this example.
Okay.
Somebody just messaged me earlier. I commented happy birthday on his post, and he sent me this. Thanks for the birthday wishes, Sierra. Ow. And by the way, next week, Saturday, I do a free masterclass, how to use Jungian analytical depth technology, MBTI, and human design to build a brand that truly feels like you. You're more than welcome to join if you like. Well, that was a really crappy CTA at the end. You're more than welcome to join if you like. But it was a really great idea that people just wished him a happy birthday. And he followed up with people who wished him a happy birthday and said, I'm doing this. Do you want info? Like, why don't people follow up? I don't know.
Right.
You have all those people that you can follow up with at any point and be like, hey, I know I glossed over this at the end, but I wanted to put it out there. Are you or somebody you know looking for X right now or struggling with X right now? And just
Right.
follow up.
I love it. Good suggestion. So in a group, obviously, it's because they're interested in, they wouldn't join the group unless they were interested in the topic or wanted a community help with that
Exactly.
issue, right? So,
Exactly.
so how was it? Because you obviously have so many. In fact, you mentioned one success story. I'm like so impressed with you. You mentioned that you had 70,000 people from a group. I'm so sorry. You said Becky did 70,000. Sorry, say what it is that you that she had a
Um,
90% closing rate? Give me more examples. I mean, give me a
Yeah,
more stories about
she was doing when she and I started working together, she was doing roughly a 20% closing rate on her calls, which means to get $200,000 months, she was having to have like 50 or 60 calls a month. And she was taking all the sales calls herself and she was kind of burning out.
it. Okay.
And she was like, yeah, but as long as we can maintain getting those calls every month, then I can bring on a sales team. And I was like, do not hand off sales if you only have a 20% closing rate as the leader and the owner of the business. The leader and
Okay.
the owner of the business should have 75 to 100% closing rate. And if
Okay.
you do not have that kind of closing rate and you're jumping on a bunch of sales calls without that kind of closing rate, you are not ready to hand it off to a sales team. Like, do not, I'm telling you, do not hand it off because your sales team, typically sales team closing rates are around 20%. But if the owner of the business is not even closing at 75 to 100%, like that percentage is going to drastically drop because it means that the way that you have your pitch created is not scalable. And so we took her 20% closing rate to a 90% closing rate in the first month. And we just worked on like a few pieces of like refining down who was actually getting to jump on calls. So she was able to do way less calls and make the same amount of money. She hadn't had any calls the previous month because she actually had a Facebook jail issue, which we also ironed out. Um, Most of the time, Facebook jail issues come from duplication of messages in a spam or bot like way.
Okay.
And it also comes from doing too much of an activity you've never done before, or from multiple people logging into your account, which goes against their community guidelines.
Oh, okay. So what did you do to change the direction of that? Like, what did you do to fix that?
Well, we started having a few different ways that we were running people to her messenger. So instead of her initiating messenger conversations with a bunch of people who were not on her friends list, and her friends list is completely maxed, so it's not even possible, we started driving people to message her instead, which will help with the like avoiding jail. And then she has an intake person already, so we cleaned up some of the intake call, and we do a little bit of qualifying in messenger. She does an intake call that's like a gatekeeper before they get to a call with her. And so by the time they get on the call with her, because her time is way more valuable than a VA's time, but we have the VAs helping on the front end, and then she jumps on the calls on the back end.
So I'm assuming she has like a group coaching program that she does?
She does. She's a real estate investor.
Oh, okay. Very cool. And I'm just curious, like, how are you people to initiate a message with her?
So you can actually, like, everybody has this. So you have your little URL for your Facebook profile,
Hmm.
and you do m.me slash whatever your URL is, and that's the direct message to you. So you can tell them to message you at that link. Again, if you've not hit up 100 people and you had 100 people opt in for something, please, I did not tell you to go message everybody the exact same message. Remember
No.
that. Sierra did
Yeah,
not tell you to do that. Change up
that's
your
right.
message, switch it up, vary up your activity on Facebook, be like a normal human. A normal human
Right.
doesn't go to Facebook and do the exact same monotonous activity over and over and over and over and over again. We go
No.
on here and we like our friends' post and we comment and we chat with people in Messenger, and then we go back over and scroll our newsfeed a little bit. Like, we vary up the activity. So whatever your activity is, make sure you're varying up the activity when you do that.
What I meant, and that's awesome, and that's so true. Hello, be a human. What a concept. Like, talk to people like humans. That's nuts, Sierra. Dang. No, I just meant like, how did she inspire people to click on that link and send her a private message?
They wanted the thing. It was an opt-in post, and so it was
Oh,
it was a lead magnet that they wanted. So we do.
oh,
I always recommend inside of groups to do, like, you need to be doing an opt-in every single week, at least once a week.
oh, okay. So like
And we do that
a
in
new lead
style,
magnet?
like in viral question style, where we just come up with a new name for something. We put it out there into the universe, and we're just like, hey, does anybody want this? And people are like, yes, or people are like, crickets. And it gives us that marketing feedback on what people actually want based on the titles.
So it's almost like the whole sell it first. So if you offer it and let enough people ask for it, then you can create it.
Hmm.
Okay. That's awesome. That's awesome. Well,
Yeah.
you just mentioned something that we are going to talk about today because your brilliant marketing tip was about viral questions. So have you kind of share a little bit more. I mean, obviously, it said here viral questions is all you need to kick up valuable conversations and hit your first 10K. What do you mean by that? And what the heck is a viral question?
So a viral question is a really simple question that is easy to answer, it's quick to answer, and it's also typically fun or entertaining in some aspect. So, like, a viral question might be something along the lines of, do you prefer coffee or tea?
Do you like Brussels sprouts? Yay or nay?
Right.
Yeah.
But like, I'm literally asking, do you prefer coffee or tea?
Oh, to me, I'm so sorry. Coffee, of course,
So, see how you said coffee, of course? It's
right?
because you feel passionately about it, and so
Yeah,
it's kind of polarizing, coffee or tea. Like, people who are tea drinkers are tea drinkers. People who are
right,
coffee drinkers are coffee drinkers. And
right.
so it kind of like it's fun to answer and it's fun to talk about because it's just something you like casually enjoy. And so, viral questions are questions that are super easy to answer, that it's really easy to like just stop for a second, answer real quick, and keep scrolling in the newsfeed because it gets higher engagement really fast. So it has a tendency to go viral really fast. So if you went and posted that in a group that's like between like one of the super groups that's like 10, 20, 30,000 members, you'd probably get 100 to 300 comments on your very first post. And
Okay.
it just has to make sense for whatever the group is. But like those really simple to answer questions are viral questions. And realistically, I actually just did a training recently at one of Molly's events, and then I turned it into a training that anyone anywhere can get at any time. And I put that up in our Samcart platform recently for everybody. And so you can get access to that. And I talk about like the 3 different viral questions. The first one is to build engagement. One is to get high visibility with new people that you don't even know yet so that you can make new friends. And then another one is to actually close sales and how to
Okay.
like kick up those new sales conversations. And so my entire front end program, like I have a phase 1 that helps people get to like 10 to 30K months. All we use is viral questions in the beginning. That's literally all we use for marketing. We don't have to do value post. We don't have to do leadership style post, which is the longer form ones. We don't have to do story style post. Like realistically, all you have to do is kick up conversations with the right people at the right time, because 15% of people you talk to are going to be buying. You just have to
I
talk
love
to them.
that. But how do you take something like coffee or tea to bring them down the funnel?
That one's for engagement. So once you kick up the engagement with them, Facebook's going to show whatever your next post is to them, which hopefully is the CTA post that you post once per week. And then if they are somebody who wants it, they will come to you and they will comment, yes, I want that.
Okay. So you're basically just, and that was something that I'm so glad you answered that, because I know that would be like people are like, well, what do you do with that coffee or tea? Just like the Brussels sprouts thing, A or nay. Um, so it's not
You
really
you
that
build
you're,
you build rapport.
yeah, but it's
You
not
build
like you're
people
going in
like
and,
you.
yeah, but
But
you're not,
no,
I
you
mean,
totally can. I actually just did this with somebody yesterday where I was like, you should always be driving people to talk about your offer and what you do. So I told her, like, come up with an offer. And she was like, dog walking. And I was like, okay, cool. And I was like, now just come up with any topic. We were sitting outside having coffee the other day. And I was like, just come up with any topic. And she's like, oh, I just saw some birds flying over there. And I was like, oh my gosh, yeah. Like, I love the birds. And I actually have a friend, and we see all the birds whenever like I was helping walk his dog for a little bit, and I like all the birds outside, and the dog would get so excited and chase them. And anyways, do you have a dog? And it was just like literally like, so I took somebody else's offer or an idea for somebody else's offer, and you're just able to flip things around and just start up conversations based around what you do. It should be natural. You should love talking about what you do.
right. No, I love that. I guess I was saying that a lot of people, in fact, I was at the event where you gave the training on it. That was a
Yeah.
question a lot of people had was, well, I know it's a conversation starter, but do I need to take that conversation down a path? Remember, we were
You
brainstorming
don't
about
you
it.
don't have to. You don't
Okay,
have to,
but so
but
you're
you
saying
can.
if,
If you have
yeah,
no leads, do it with everybody. If you have no leads right now or you are desperate for sales, oh my gosh, just go make sales. And so literally like I was saying with the coffee or tea, so I could just flip that around and be like, oh, do you drink coffee on work days? Like how many cups do you drink? And now you're talking to me about your job and what you do.
right.
And
And
then
would
I can
that
start
be
qualifying
on,
you. Oh, do you have your own business or do you work for a company? Like what do you do?
yeah. And would that all be on DM, like in Messenger, or was this live on the like the post?
I take it to DM when it turns into I'm about to pitch them
Okay,
or I'm about to book a call or I'm
right.
about to send them something. I might say like, "Oh my gosh, I have something that might be perfect for you. Like, let me shoot you a message."
Nice.
And then take it over to DMs.
I love it.
But if it's going towards a sale, I usually take it to DMs because I
Okay,
don't want people to think that that question was solely for the sale because it's not. It's
100%.
it's for rapport.
Yeah, exactly. But I'm saying is, so you did. So that's really good advice. I just want to share with the watchers. That sounds weird. The list, because this is a podcast and a live stream, so they're listening and they're watching, I guess. Anyways, but it's a really good because that question is like, how far do I take it, in public versus what goes right? Because you do. I never want people to think that I'm just talking to them. I want to, I like to engage with people and talk to people. So that's awesome. So you answered that. That is great. And then, by the way, this link right here, and I'll put it in the comments as well. and in the description of the show is this is a great way for you to kickstart your engagement by using her viral questions to start those conversations. I just love that you offer that. That is so cool.
Yeah.
And you have multiple different viral questions in that.
Yeah, there's over 80 different viral questions inside of that. And in addition to that, the training that I put in there shows you how to take those and adapt them for whatever your niche, whatever your market is. Like you can literally take all of those viral questions and adapt them with the training.
Love that. Okay, I just updated to say 80 viral questions. I love it. Okay, yay. All right, cool. So the other thing that we were talking about is that your brilliant marketing share is that you said stop consuming social media without engaging. Can you go into depth on that?
Yeah. So if you've ever been on social media and you're like, I just don't like being on Facebook or I don't like being on Instagram or TikTok or whatever other social media platform you're on, typically it's because you're sitting there and you're just consuming and you're not actually engaging with people. So when we engage with people, we start building those relationships. And so instead of consuming your competitors' content and your friends and family's content and maybe your clients' content, maybe random strangers' content, you're just sitting there consuming, it actually
Right.
ends up like you're sitting there for 30 seconds and then like 5, 10 minutes later, you're like, whoa, where did my time go? Like, oh my gosh, I'm almost late to a meeting. Like that kind
Right.
of stuff happens all the time for everybody. And it's because we go to social media to consume and we get in this habit of consuming versus engaging. And so I want to challenge anybody who hears this to go to social media, like actually make a point to do this, not just the next time you go to social media. I mean, literally go to your social media platform and every single post that you pause on, engage with it. So if you
Okay.
pause for 5 to 10 seconds,
Right.
engage with it, whether it's dropping a like button or a heart or some other kind of reaction, or it's actually writing a comment. I want to challenge you to engage with it because what happens when we engage in person? Think about it. You go to the store and you smile at somebody and they smile back at you. It
Right.
feels really good. We get dopamine and serotonin and we get all these happy hormones that kick up. The same thing happens on social media. And so many people end up getting depressed or stressed, or they have high anxiety from being on social media because they're not getting that happy hormone chemical hitting.
Right.
And it's not coming from the activities that are long lasting. It's coming from like those quick things. So like when we have sugar or caffeine and then we have a really big crash in the afternoon because we had sugar or caffeine, it's because it's a short-lived energy. Whereas when we get a hug from somebody, that energy can last us for a pretty long time. When we
Right.
get a compliment from somebody we love, we can go back and read that compliment over and over and over again. And it feels really good every time we read it. When we watch a video of like one of our kids smiling about something or discovering something new for the first time, it lights us up.
Yeah.
And so those
Totally.
long lasting emotions come from the actual engagement of it, not just the consumption.
I love that. Thank you for that perspective. I when you just said that, yeah, there was recently my son was visiting from he lives in Florida and he was visiting and he was it sounds weird to say this because they're all in their 20s now. They were playing. My daughter took a video. He was pushing the girls in this cart and she was videotaping herself, her little sister who was she's sitting on her lap, and my son who was pushing them. And the joy in their face, like, literally brought me back to when they were little children. And I was like, I mean, I had to screen record that. It was like in one of my kids' story, and I was so like, and of course I commented, right? But it was like so like it made me so happy as a mom. But the same thing, like I'll see other videos of like kids hugging cats or a dog hugging a cat or something, and I know it's like I just think it just made my day. And so even on videos like that, making a little comment like this was so sweet, it does. It reinforces the fact that they're doing something good. And I think that rising
Can I give
tides lifts all
you
boats, right?
yes. Can I give you a high level way to do this?
Yes.
Create a Google Doc. And inside of that Google Doc, I want you to find your 5 favorite quotes from 5 gurus that your audience loves to follow.
Okay.
So find your 5 favorite quotes and put them into that Google Doc. And then think of 5 tips or something that you tell your clients or you tell new people that you talk to all the time that would be super helpful for other people. And then put that into your Google Doc.
Okay.
And then use this Google Doc when you go to engage. And when you comment and engage, use one of those,
Oh,
either the quote or one of those tips inside of your engagement. And then you have something to refer back to on a regular basis. And so this actually gives you the ability to show up as a leader in the comments. And when you show up as a leader in the comments, it's so freaking cool. So on a group side, you can be like, oh my gosh, this is so good. I would love this kind of energy inside of my group. Here's my group link. And then you can share one of your tips, or you can share one of your favorite quotes or something like that. And it connects with them. And so now in the comments, you'd be surprised if a post is getting enough engagement, like where it has like 100 to 300 comments on it, and you go drop a comment, there's a likelihood that 30 to 50 people are going to see your comment on somebody else's post. And if it is valuable, there's the likelihood that those people are actually either going to connect with you as a friend or follow you or want to join your group. And so that's a great way to engage and get a lot of long lasting business growth.
I love that. Now, I will definitely be doing that, but I was wondering if you're in someone else's group and you're dropping a link to join your group, is that considered rude though?
I mean, there's 280 million Facebook groups. There's more than 280 million Facebook groups. If they kick you out for that, I mean, cool, bye. I'll go
Okay.
find another group.
All right.
There's
Well, my
there's
my
some groups
mantra
that
is
don't
always
care, and there's some groups that do.
right. Well, my mantra is always ask for forgiveness, not permission. So I would say yes, as long as you're doing it in a respectful way. You're not trying to poach their people, but you're just saying, "Hey, I have another great thing." I love that. I love that.
Yeah. So if
Yes.
I was, for example, if I was in a women entrepreneurs group and I had a group that was a women entrepreneurs group, maybe not that one. But if
Right.
I went into an entrepreneurs group and I was like, hey, I just created a group that's just all women, would you like to join? It makes sense. And this was actually one of the strategies we used for that women entrepreneurs group. There were a bunch of entrepreneurial or business related groups for the area, all dead. All it was just like people spam post for, I don't know, their business advertisement or something like that, which was
Right.
getting zero engagement in every single group because all the groups were dead. The only
Right.
people commenting were the people posting their business advertisement. And so I would go in there and I would strategically find any woman entrepreneur who was posting her stuff. It could be multi-level marketing, it could be her home-based business, it could be she actually has a company locally. I was finding everyone. So I just went to all of the different groups and I found everyone and I commented below and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, this is so good. I'm shooting you a message." And then I would say in the message, like, hey, we just started this women entrepreneurs group. I loved the energy on your post. I think your business looks really cool. And I think it might be a perfect fit where you could add value to the group and maybe you'd get some value too. Would you like the link? And then they'd ask for the link and I'd send it to them. But
Okay.
that was one of like the easiest ways to go into somebody else's group that isn't serving them in that capacity and you have a better way to serve them. It makes sense. It makes sense for
Right.
you to share your group.
Right. Okay. That is awesome advice. Oh my gosh, we have gone so long because you're such a rock star. You've given so much love and amazing advice to my
Dude,
listeners. Thank you.
imagine what I could do with like so much more time.
Oh my. Oh my.
I'm just kidding.
No, it's so true. That's why I wanted to have you on the show because seriously, what you're providing and your brilliance is so important these days because people need something to hang on to, and I love that. And the story about your son just, oh my gosh, touched my heart. And God bless him. And give him a hug for me. He's like, "Who is that creepy woman telling you to give me a hug?" I
I
think
give him
that's
hugs all
amazing.
the time. I love hugging him. He's so cute. And I'm like, can you just stop being so cute?
Right? I know. The people my kids all grew up in theater, and one of the moms, named my son The Face. She's like, "The face!
Oh.
Look at the face. He's so cute. He's so adorable." And, it's not just me. So, yeah, all my kids are beautiful, so that's lovely. Anyways, so listen, I really appreciate your time. I'm so grateful that, you opened up and shared all this stuff with us, and, I will definitely be putting your links. Everybody, if you are listening and watching this, I'm sure you got so much value out of this. Sierra's program with her, viral, questions, 80 viral questions, and her coaching on how to use it, priceless, right? And she also asked if anybody, I said, "How can people get a hold of you?" And she said, "Just connect with her on Facebook. Send her a little DM and say, 'Hey, I saw you on Mary's show and I think we should be friends.'" And she will follow up with you as well. So without further ado, Sierra, thank you again so much. I was trying to find your title here so I could put it up so everybody can know how awesome you are, which they already know. So I don't need to put up your name. but everybody knows who you
It's
are.
there.
Okay, it
I
is
see it.
gone.
Oh,
Okay, awesome. All right, and also speaking of groups, if you are also interested in a community of people who are like-minded, who just want to have fun and be more creative in their business, come join my group, Marketing Innovators Playground, and I look forward to seeing you in there. So again, without further ado, thank you again for being on the show, and I will definitely be seeing you soon inside our mastermind. And until then, everyone, be brilliant in all you do.